these are the Virtuoso Moments Open Court 1s, and these are the Virtuoso Moments Open Court 2s. They are very similar, have a lot of things that are the same, and a lot of things that are different as well, so I'll be doing a review of both of them at the same time. For both of them, on the front of the tuck box, they say Virtuoso Moments, have the Virtuoso logo up in the corner, and for the most part, it's just going to be the similar designs with the different triangles all around it, but the main thing that's going to be different is the main color. So on this one, it is going to be this dark green, and on the Virtuoso Moments 1s is going to be the white. On one long edge, you're going to have the Virtuoso logo, and on the other side, it says Virtuoso. The back is going to continue the design. The top says Moments, and the bottom has some ad copy. The large inner tuck flap has the Virtuoso logo and says designed for cardistry, and the small inner tuck flaps don't have anything else, so let's take a look at the cards that come inside. The back designs and the ad cards are the two things that are going to be different with this deck. Back designs are right here. These are the Open Court 1s, and these are the Open Court 2s. So the Open Court 1s are predominantly a white bordered deck, has the dark green, pink, and regular standard green, and then the circle has a white center with a green ring. On the opposite side, now you're going to have a dark bordered deck, which I'll explain to you why I'm not a big fan of that, but that comes later when it comes to the Faro shuffle. Instead of having the pink triangle, you have white. Instead of the green, you have pink. Instead of the dark green, you have the regular green. Now again, this is definitely not a big fan of mine. I definitely prefer the Open Court 1s to the Open Court 2s, but I'll explain why later. Now for the number cards and the rest of the face cards, excluding the ad cards, they are all going to be the same, so I'll show you them all together. So for your number cards, you're going to be completely customized all the way through. So you have 4 new suits, and I'll show you a little bit of a special detail behind the suits in a little bit. Now we're on to suit number 2, and they're going to be all the same. Now we're on to number 3. Look like this all the way through, and then on to number 4. That's what all of these look like. So definitely for cardistry, not for Magic or playing card games, but definitely still super fun. Now you might have noticed when I was doing that, you didn't see any 5s or 10s, and the reason behind that is the 5s are either going to say 5 or V. So that's going to go for all of the 5s, and then for the 10s, they don't say 10, they say X. So again, V and 5, X for this one, and that goes for all of the 5s and the 10s. And I find it kind of interesting that they use Roman numerals for 5s and 10s, but not for anything else. So personally, I would have probably preferred that they either stuck with 5 and 10 and done the Roman numerals for all of them, or just stuck with 5 and 10 and done numbers for all of them. Now we're on to the court cards, I guess, which are going to be similar designs, but again, still more ramped up. So that is your jacks, queens, and kings. Jack, queen, king, all the way through. And when you do pirouette with any of these, I wish I could explain to you how beautiful these moves look. Now we are on to the 4 aces, which are 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we're on to the ad cards, which is where these are different. So these are the Open Court 1s, which say Virtuoso Moments Open Court 1 with the Virtuoso logo. So usually pretty easy to decipher which is which. And then if you actually organize it like this, you can actually see each of the different suits, which I think is pretty dang cool. Then the other thing that's kind of cool about this is if you do the same thing, but this time you flip it over and you organize it in the same way, this time you're actually going to get the back design for the Open Court 1s. So super sick design. They do that for all the different Virtuoso decks. And now let me show you for the Open Court 2s. Now the last time when you read it, it was horizontal. This one is going to be vertical. And now let me show you what this one looks like. So now we can go into it like this, where we have the back design or the different suits. So in this one, we're gonna do the suits first, where it looks like that. Get the different suits there. And then if you flip it over, as soon as you do that, then you actually get the back design, which looks like that. So this is definitely something you can hang up on your wall, get that framed. Super cool if you are a massive Virtuoso fan. This is the part where I like this deck way better than the Virtuoso Open Court 2s, and let me explain why. It is the Faro shuffle. So the Faro shuffle is when you're intertwining cards every other. Some decks can, some decks can't. So from bottom to top, these do it unbelievably easily. And then from top to bottom, we'll see about that in a second, but white bordered decks are going to be way nicer for this. So again, Faro super easily, no issues there. But notice when you've done that, you can see no damage on the outside of this deck. Now right before this, I actually just recorded a video with these playing cards and how to use the Faro Shuffle for 5 different moves. So when I was doing that, you can actually see exactly where I was doing that Faro Shuffle, because you actually end up seeing right where all that damage is up in that corner and up on that corner. So you can start to see, because of that like dark green border going around the outside there, it starts to get a bit of damage, which is why I'm not a big fan of dark bordered decks. But I will give them one thing: they Faro beautifully every other. Like, there's literally no issues there from bottom to top. And then we'll check from top to bottom as well. Once again, no issues, super easy to Faro. Now when it comes to these stock and the feel of these playing cards and the finish on them, these are going to glide beautifully, so the finish is immaculate. I cannot express to you how easily these things glide. No issues with that on the finish at all. But when it comes to the stock and the feel of these playing cards, it is definitely going to be a little bit thinner than a normal deck of like bicycle playing cards printed on the regular classic stock. At United States Playing Cards Company, they have 2 different stocks. They have classic, they have premium. This is going to be the regular, same stuff you get for your bicycle playing cards, except for the fact they were crushed. So as soon as they went through the press, got everything finished, they crushed them down even flatter. Now they are a little bit of a thinner deck, which makes it way easier for someone who's a beginner to start working on moves, especially things like Under Pressure, which would normally take a lot more of your hand grip and a lot more hand strength. This one is going to be a lot easier to do things like that with. It's actually the reason why the deck that I produce is the exact same feel of these playing cards. Like, that's the reason I did it, is because of Virtuoso decks. So Virtuoso decks are seriously one of my favorite decks to handle of all time. That being said, that is going to be the stock of it, but the actual feeling of it, you can definitely tell it is a little bit thinner. And I'd probably say it has a good mix of both buttery and snappy. So buttery decks are mostly used for things like Under Pressure, which I've shown you looks like this. And then the other one that I could say would probably be like a Card Spring, which looks like that. And then the other moves would be more for snappy decks, which would be either ATM, which looks like this. Lego Love is just a fun one I like to do that goes with that one. Then the other one would probably be Backdrop, which looks like that. So those are moves that are more for snappy decks, but let me show you what those moves look like with the Open Court 2s. So with the Open Court 2s, here is your Under Pressure. Looks like that. Still definitely gorgeous, and I do like the contrast on these a little bit better when doing that one. And then the Card Spring is going to look like this. I don't remember what move was the other one I was trying to do. And then we have ATM, which looks like this. Still a super easy one to do. Absolutely no issues, and they do feel the same between the 2 decks. Like, it's not like they printed one way and one the other, or crushed one and then didn't crush the other. So no issues on that front. And then the other one for the snappy ones would be Backdrop, which looks like that. So clearly no issues on that front. But if you're wanting to check out any of those that I was talking about earlier with the Faro Shuffle, again, actually let me put these down, because these definitely do Faro Shuffle well, but you'll want to know which moves to do with the Faro Shuffle. So some of them would include things like Friffle and Cascade, which look like that, and this. So Friffle and Cascade of that, and there's actually 5 different moves plus a bonus that I end up teaching in that video. And if you want to check out all of that, you can check it out right up here. And if you want to pick up the playing cards for yourself, I'll leave the link to them right here and in the description below in the pinned comment for 10% off if you use code CardPerfectMagician. So make sure to subscribe for more content just like this one. And if you want to see a video where I compare these 2 decks to other Virtuoso decks like I've done in the past, make sure to drop a comment and let me know if you'd want to see that. I'll catch you guys in the next one. This is CPM, signing off.